I don't give a damn about no damn Drake night.
What's good, everyone? Fantastic Hip Hop back here with another video, and today we're going to be ranking the one, the only, Jizzy Drake, Champagne Papi, Alberry Graham's discography. Let's waste no time and let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10, we have Drake's latest project, Dark Lane Demo Tapes. This is just a compilation of a bunch of loose singles that Drake didn't want to put on any of his albums, and it shows. This thing's really just a lousy cash grab. There's really nothing that defining to remember about this thing, but there are a couple solid moments. But first, let's get to the bad moments. There's the abysmal 2C Slide, which is just an absolute and utter disgrace to hip-hop culture as a whole. It's just such a lousy attempt at a TikTok song, and while it was successful at that, it just shows how far of a sellout Drake has become. There's some other bad moments, and I think the most unmemorable moment on this thing is got to be Not You Too, which features Chris Brown, and it really just feels like a cut that didn't make his album Indigo, and that album was like 35 songs long, which just shows you how low the ceiling was for this record. On the good side, there's When to Say When, which samples the beautiful Jay-Z song Song Cry from his 2001 album The Blueprint, and that is some of Drake's most introspective, thoughtful, and reflective songwriting ever, and it really just makes you think, what's wrong with the rest of the album? And then you have other songs like the now iconic Chicago Freestyle, which has that soul-shocking hook from Giveon, which again is another amazing moment. Drake does his thing there. And then you have some good bangers in D4L, which features Future and Young Thug, Desires, which also has Future on it. And then you have the drill anthem Demon, which features The Air to Pop Smoke, 5-Yo Foreign. Besides that, you really got nothing here. I really don't have to go into depth about any of the other tracks. It's really just super forgettable, just, boring Drake at his lowest. And yeah, that's why it's last on the list. Coming in at number 9, we have Drake's 2017 album, or as he liked to call it, playlist, which is really just a lousy excuse when you have a terrible project that has no cohesion, More Life. I know a lot of people do like this album, and it does have its good moments, but overall this thing is a mess of a project. It is all over the place. There's good cuts. There's, the opener Free Smoke. You get that typical Drake talking his shit, throwing jabs at people. That's awesome. There's some other really good songs in that same medium, like Glychester. Then you have moments like KMT, which are super frustrating. Why are you biting off XXXTentacion's flow? Do something original, Drake. I don't get it. You're the biggest artist in the world. You can't come up with something new. One of your millions of writers can't come up with something new. And then there's other moments which are similar to Views, which also had its issues, where, he's biting off people's styles, There's some decent moments which kind of dabble with the R&B side, like Passion Fruit and Fake Love, which are actually pretty enjoyable, but besides that, I don't care for any of the other, foreign or, vibey cuts that he goes for. There are some good bangers and collaborations on this thing, including Portland with Travis Scott and Quavo, Sacrifices with 2 Chainz and Young Thug, who goes off on that song, 4422 with Sampha, that's an alright cut, and then you have Get It Together, which features Georgia Smith, and let me talk about Georgia's interlude for a second. That's probably the best song on this entire project. That's awesome. Overall, this record is pretty forgettable, but there are a handful of solid moments which do savor it a little bit. Moving into number 8, we have Drake's 2016 album, Views. This album was super hyped up, and it sold 1 million copies in its first week. Well, we don't actually know if it did, because back then Apple Music kind of just threw out any sales number they wanted. But whatever, it was really popular. This album is on the more R&B side of things, but at a time where guys like The Weeknd had Starboy, Frank Ocean had Blonde, Anderson .Paak made Malibu, and Gambino made Awaken My Love, there really wasn't a place for Drake in R&B, if you know what I mean. What he ended up doing, he ended up, again, biting off a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different voices. This is where we saw his annoying Jamaican voice at first, and it really got annoying. I mean, songs like One Dance and Controller were super popular, and I actually do personally enjoy them, but they really just show he's going for a completely different style here, and it's not a different style in a good way. He's just trying to sell out. I mean, after making one of his hardest albums ever, you get this frustrating experience where he's just completely selling out, trying to make hits. And some of the songs are fun. Like Too Good with Rihanna is a fun duet song. I'm sure if you karaoke, you probably like that song. But that's not what I like Drake for. And I'm sure a lot of hip-hop fans don't like Drake for. That's why this is his most mainstream album, is because it brought in, moms and children into his fan group. But there are some good songs on this. I will give credit where credit is due. Faithful with former or fallen UGK later, Pimp C, May He Rest in Peace is a pretty dope cut. Grammys with Future is alright. There's, Hype, which is another fun track. You have Pop Style, which is corny. It would have been way better if Kanye and Jay-Z were left on the track, which, there's a bunch of beef, drama with that, and they should have been on it. but whatever. And then, Keep the Family Close is alright. It's another solid track. Like, there are some good moments here, especially Child's Play with that iconic Cheesecake Bridge, which is just so awesome, so fun. That's the only time he really digs into his emotional bag here. And honestly, this is his worst album lyrically. I mean, highlighted on the line in Pop Style where he says, "Got so many chains, they call me Channing Tatum." That is one of the corniest lines, not just in Drake's entire catalog, but one of the corniest lines I've ever heard. This thing, lyrically, it sounds like a 13-year-old who's writing his first raps wrote it at sometimes, and it's honestly crazy, after having Quentin Miller write his entire last project, for him to do that. Overall, this thing is a mess. It does have some fun bangers, shout out to Hotline Bling, whatever else is fun on here, but it's really just not that good. Moving into number 7, we have Drake's 2018 LP, Scorpion. Out of all the hip-hop albums I've ever listened to, this is probably the one that I have the biggest love-hate relationship with. There's so many cuts of pure excellence, moments of divinity that show you how great Drake is. But then there's about 15 other songs which are just absolutely terrible and, suffer from the same issues of selling out that More Life and Views both do. Moments like 8 out of 10, Mob Ties, Sandra's Road are absolutely beautiful. They highlight Drake's lyricism, highlight his ability to make hard-hitting bangers and not sell out, and they're just generally good, fun songs, which is what Drake built his career off of. On the other hand, there's songs that are absolutely terrible. Ratchet Happy Birthday is disgusting. In My Feelings shows how far he's came, how far he'll come to get a bag and a #1 plaque. It's actually saddening to see how far he's come. The other R&B side, which is generally, I think, the worst side on this thing, is just pretty bad. I mean, the creativity is non-existent. The integrity is non-existent. The R&B side, aside from Nice for What, which samples the iconic Lauryn Hill song X Factor, which is beautifully done, and then Drake's lyrics there are amazing. His performance is absolutely amazing there. Besides that, and then the record's closer, March 14th, where he addresses his issues with Kanye, Pusha T, talks about his son, which is a super amazing moment, the R&B side is pretty bad. And I mean, wow, how do you mess up a record which, first of all, had such a high production budget, and then, I mean, you went on one of the biggest commercial runs, even with a song like God's Plan. And I wasn't a fan of God's Plan because, yet again, I thought he was selling out. I get the appeal. I saw the attempt, and it could have, been the lone #1 sort of sellout, sort of middle school dance hit that he needed on this record. But nope, he couldn't stop there. He had to make In My Feelings, and, this thing is just a mess. If it was cut down to like 10 songs, 8 songs, 7 songs, the Kanye style, it might have been very good. And it might have been, one of his top 4 projects. Might have been on his Mount Rushmore projects. But what we have here is just a very frustrating experience, and that's why it's in the middle of the pack. Coming in at number 6, we have Thank Me Later. This is Drake's debut album, and from here I just want to say all of these records are good at the minimum. They capture a key element that makes Drake the legend he is today, and they're overall just fun, enjoyable, and pretty concise experiences. Here, it's a little underwhelming compared to the success of his critically renowned mixtape So Far Gone, which was released the year before, but this project is overall still very good. There's a lot of key elements of Drake that are highlighted here and that really put him on the map to other artists in the industry as a whole, such as his collaborating ability, which is seen with guys like Jay-Z and Jeezy, and even, his Young Money associates, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, and also R&B singers like Alicia Keys and The Dream. And, seeing him being able to collaborate with all these different names, bounce them off lyrically, vocally, it was super amazing, especially at the time where hip-hop wasn't as versatile as it was now. And it really put him on the map as the renowned feature artist, and it made guys really want to work with him the way they do now. Other songs really captivate his singing and rapping ability to the best of their abilities. Over does this really well, where, he's singing on the hook, it's super melodic, super fun, sounds really good, it's enjoyable, and then he kills his lyrics. They're witty, they're charismatic, they're enjoyable, they're youthful. You want everything here, and everything here really shows what Drake is. The problem here is that it's really just kind of underwhelming, and there's not really any core expansion, core themes. It's just kind of a scatter of solid songs. This record also has Fancy, which has T.I., and is produced by Swizz Beatz, and that has one of the greatest beat switches of all time. So good. The defining record on this album would be Find Your Love, which again, it showcases melodic Drake at his best. He's not selling out, he's just having fun, he's singing, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, this record is definitely very solid, and it's a really fun experience, and I'm sure most of you guys love it, especially if you're from the time. You probably have a lot of nostalgia with it, and for me, this really is the moment where Drake stepped in and said, I'm going to be the next superstar. It just took him another record to really become the great who he is. Coming in at number 5, we have Drake's commercial mixtape, So Far Gone. This was released in 2009, right at the time where Drake was signed to Lil Wayne's Young Money imprint, and he really proves that he wants to be great here. He's super hungry, super passionate, and his lyrics are super fiery. You see the best of both of his worlds in the sense where he's singing and rapping here to a pretty great ability. He's showing off his talent, he's telling you about who he is, where he's from, what makes him different, and he really sells you on himself here, which is super important, especially in a project that's filled with A-list guest features from guys like Trey Songz, Bun B from UGK, Santigold, Omarion, and there's like multiple Lil Wayne features here. And this is 2009, so this is prime Wheezy, so you know what you're getting yourself into. The production here is also amazing. There's samples, there's beats used from Kanye West's 808s and Heartbreaks to, Big Papa by the Notorious B.I.G. This album, or this mixtape I should say, is a really great project and definitely one of the best mixtapes of all time. Moving into the top 4, we have Drake's only collaborative record, and it's with the one, the only, the king of trap, the king of toxic hip-hop, Future Hendrix, and this is What a Time to Be Alive, of course. This record is so hard. At a time where Drake and Future were both dominating rap, with If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, DS2, a threshold of hits, they come together and run a victory lap on the entire industry. There's so many great moments here. The bravado, the swag, the over-the-top confidence. It's so fun to just hear them tear up every song. Metro Boomin produced almost this entire thing. And I mean, it's Metro Boomin production. This is astounding. It's beautiful. The score he crafts for them. There's songs like Digital Dash, Big Rings, Diamonds Dancing. They're going absolutely crazy. This is them at their worst. Well, their best, but you know what I mean by their worst. It is ridiculous. I mean, this record is so fun. One of the best collaborative efforts of all time. How could I forget about Jumpman? That record is so fun. And then, you have the 30 for 30 freestyle where Drake absolutely snaps. In my opinion, and I know a lot of you guys are going to get mad at me for this, and I'm a Kanye fan, so it's coming from me. This record is what Watch the Throne should have been. Coming in number 3. Now, this is our classic territory, so these next 3 are all amazing. We got Nothing Was the Same. Now, this record is the ultimate middle ground for Drake. You have the somber introspectiveness of Take Care, while you also have the, cockiness, the carelessness of If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. This album is truly great. I mean, from, Tuscan Leather, Furthest Thing, where he's really, he's calling people out, flexing his Grammys, telling you how good he is, to, talking about his lost relationship with his father, lost relationship with females on songs like Too Much and From Time. You really get every single element that makes Drake so great captured here. There's also a handful of top-notch bangers, including Started From the Bottom, which has become a generational anthem at this point, Worst Behavior, Own It, The Language, all amazing tracks. And then the features on this thing are absolutely amazing. Drake's collaborating ability is yet again on full display as he works with guys like 2 Chainz and Big Sean for the posse cut All Me, which is an absolutely amazing song where all 3 of them trade amazing verses, just flexing, showing how good they are. Super fun, super creative. The wordplay is amazing. And then you have the collaboration with the one and only Hova, Jay-Z on Pound Cake / Paris Morton Music 2. And it's an absolutely amazing cut. I mean, Jay-Z brings out the best in Drake, and Drake brings out the best in Jay-Z. This record is super amazing, super versatile. If you love rap music, this is one of the best albums to get into when you're first starting to listen to Drake. Definitely check this out if you haven't, but I'm sure you all have. And now let's get on with this. Coming in at number 2, we have Drake's second album, Take Care. I don't know who hurt this man, but wow. Drake was down bad on this thing. I mean, Marvin's Room serves as the generational heartbreak anthem. If you hear someone listening to that song, you give them a pat on the back. You know what they're going through. Doing It Wrong, Crew Love, Take Care with Rihanna are all other cuts that testify to this, too. Talking about Crew Love, this album gave us The Weeknd. I mean, it put The Weeknd in a limelight where he was able to blow up, people really able to see his talent, and it gave him, the platform going forward to become, the biggest R&B singer in the world. Another amazing generational artist that we got was Kendrick Lamar on Buried Alive Interlude. This was the first time he got a major label showing, and it really put him on the map as well to guys like Dr. Dre and people who would sign him in the future, work with him in the future. And then, the other collaborations on this thing are part what makes the record so great. I mean, on this entire project, Drake is fighting. He's trying to get his confidence back. He's famous, but why is he so sad? He's battling in this hole, and that's seen on cuts like Over My Dead Body, Shot for Me, Underground Kings, even Lord Knows, where he's really boasting and trying to get through this, but deep down inside, we know he's hurting. And the Rick Ross feature on that song is absolutely amazing. Rick Ross is one of the best feature artists of all time. Talking about other amazing feature artists, you have Andre 3000, Lil Wayne, who were also heartbroken on this record. Even Wheezy has a heartbroken moment on this record. That's the amount of emotional magnitude that this record has, and they come together on The Real Her for just a cut that's just really, satisfyingly, emotionally, I don't know what the word to describe this is, but wow, man, these guys are lost. They're empty on this song. They're looking for something they're never going to find, and they all come to the conclusion that they never will, and it's truly heartbroken. There are some bangers on this thing. Headlines, is an absolute classic, and The Motto with Lil Wayne, that's classic Drake, classic Wheezy. Of course, I think one of the best songs on this thing is Cameras, Good Ones Go, Interlude, which just really, again, another somber moment. You really get to see Drake in full display, full throttle. He makes this fleshed out, long cut. This record is super sad, super emotional, but it's also fun and very enjoyable. And in that regard, there's no hip-hop albums better. And finally, coming in at our number one spot, we have Drake's 2015 effort. If you're reading this, it's too late. Now, one theme through every Drake project that everyone loves, but we don't see enough of, is his ability to not care. He's always sad, he's always got some sort of depth that he needs to bring to every record, but here, he says screw that, and he throws all of it out the window, and makes one of the hardest rap albums of our time. He absolutely doesn't care about a single thing here. He goes in on every song, every bar. He's throwing jabs at people left, right, whether it's rappers, promoters, label execs, ex-girlfriends. He doesn't care. He's dissing everything in his way. He shows he wants to be the best here. Not just artist, not just hit maker, not just pop star. He wants to be the best MC. His flows are so intuitive. The hooks here are also amazing. The refrains, the beat switches, the chords, everything from here is crafted near perfectly. This shows what hip-hop is about. Drake isn't just, he's not trying to sell records right now. He is just rapping for the pure enjoyment of rapping. And hearing him do this after what happens before this and what will happen after this, the train wreck that actually happens after this, it's just the best moment. And it really is the end of Drake's prime, pretty much. Well, there's the countdown. There's the discography ranking. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know your ranking in the comments. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, do whatever you can to support me. I really appreciate it so much. You guys mean the world to me. Thank you for watching this video. Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out.